We're live.
Hello and welcome to...
Anyways, hi guys, I'm Kent Scollard from Scollard Saves the Oceans. We have
I'm Hailee Desrosier from
a website name.
To Change or Not to Change, a website talking about the steps major countries in the world are taking to combat climate change.
And you?
I'm Kenny with Desert Global Warming Awareness Programs.org.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Let's start with you. Tell me a little bit about what desertification is.
So, desertification is the process from fertile land being transferred into a desert-filled wasteland where it scars our earth.
Oh, that's interesting. Are there any ways that we could possibly combat this?
We can combat this with the plantation of many more wildlife, ferns and plants.
Trees?
And
Even?
Yes,
Ooh.
trees.
Why would you plant trees in the desert? I don't think they can grow.
So you see, there's this new study that our scientists, I'm blanking on his name currently, but he studied the natural environment and how the effect of herding on desert land will transfer the design and the rehabilitation of this desert land into a useful environment.
Sounds very interesting.
Interesting. The ocean? You're doing yours on the ocean, yes?
Yes. A lot of people talk about climate change and they talk about how it affects our atmosphere, but it affects our oceans arguably even more. 1/3 of all the carbon that goes into the air is actually absorbed by the ocean, which, when it bonds with the water molecules, creates something called carbonic acid. Now this is really, really, really bad for most animals in the ocean, because when you're living in an environment that's not mostly neutral, the ocean slowly turns into a type of an acid, which is where the name comes from, ocean acidification.
Yeah.
So it harms the shell development of seashells, and so it makes them weaker and easier to break. Eggs will also have a harder time growing in a more acidic environment, and coral will begin to bleach and die. So it's
That would also affect our economy because a lot of countries rely on
Fishing.
seafood.
Yes.
Yes. Interesting. Well, I'm mainly focusing on the U.S., Europe, and China's policies to combating climate change. And the U.S., they were originally part of the Paris Agreement, but our new president has left that policy. And so right now there's no government-regulated climate change policy. However, there are companies and organizations out there that are trying to find ways to combat climate change at a national level for us. In Europe right now, they have a lot of policies for the the climate change mitigation. I can't quite pronounce that word, but they want to find a way to increase the use of renewable energy, such as wind and solar power, which is quite easy over in especially in England, in France during the summer they get a lot of sun, and so solar would be great, and then wind especially year round, especially in
windy areas.
Exactly, yeah. They want to improve their energy efficiency through the use of renewable energy, and like most countries, they want to reduce their CO2 emissions from passenger cars that are coming.
Do you know what the overall plan is for all the pollution and whatnot that's happening around the world?
I do know that they're all trying to reduce it up to 60% their emissions by 2020.
Is America also?
America as country, yes, they want to, but we don't. But the president isn't regulating anything. Yeah, exactly. So it's frustrating. And so, what people don't realize is the dangers of climate change. Like, not only does it make, things warmer, but the ocean,
It scars the planet.
yeah, with the desert, what happens? What would be the long-term effects of desertification?
The long-term effects of desertification is it creates an unusable environment, much like Florida's Death Valley, where it's so unbearably hot that most natural life is what's the word? Not existent, inexistent.
Non-existent?
Non-existence in the area. Non-existent in the area.
Okay. And so how would that affect people? Like, why does that matter? Why is it important to fix?
Because if there's no land, I imagine there'd be like no farming. It'd be hard to eat, right?
Exactly.
Well,
Yes.
it creates less of a space that we're able to use in any certain time. Like,
Yeah. Is that happening in the U.S.? Is there any parts where that's happening?
there's maps on my website. If you go to my website, https wordpress.com/customize.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yes.
While we're at it, please go to
Desert global warming. Anyway, if you go to there, there's a lot of maps on there, and they show the effect and what it looks like across America and across the world, and what deserts are impacting our country. And if you look, you can see that almost 2/3 of our planet is almost covered in deserts currently.
Wow.
Or at least
Say,
becoming.
speaking of losing land, wow, that was a terrible segue. However, I'm gonna roll with it. We lose a lot of, or we are going to lose a lot of land because of rising sea levels in the ocean,
Yes.
and now everyone, hears about how the ice caps are melting, and that's what's
I thought
causing.
that was fake.
Oh, I assure you, it's not.
If you pull up my website, go to change or not to change. Go. Type it in, Kenny. Anyways, on my website, I talk about what climate change is, and I mention, shamelessly, how climate change is not a myth. There are scientific facts.
Isn't that just like a 3-paragraph roast of anyone who doesn't? Anyways.
It's a polite roast. It's kind of like get your head out of the gutter. I recognize that people.
The gutter, got it.
No, I mean, like, if you what I'm focusing on is countries taking steps to combat climate change to, lower our carbon emission and everything, and there's people that just don't care for it, and it's annoying because,
There's just so much evidence, and
there's so much evidence that people are blind to it and they refuse to see it because it's not their problem, because they'll be dead by the time it affects them. But that's apocalyptic effects is what they're thinking of. They're thinking, when the earth is a complete barren wasteland and there's nothing left to eat or drink.
Yeah, it's not.
But it's going to
Mad
affect
Max.
them their lifetime if they don't do anything. Because they're going to, if you think about it, in the future, throughout, with what's going to happen in the next 5 years with sea levels and desertification? Did you guys find out?
Well, okay, so Venice, the city, in, the Italian city, is already experiencing some large troubles with flooding.
Hold on. What we have an ad from our sponsors.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
Oh, or, hang on.
Are we getting this in?
Oh, this just in. I'm getting word from a totally real company right now. Solaris Solar Panels. Please buy our products. It saves the world.
Alright.
Wow, what an amazing commercial.
That sounds like a good product to buy from our commercial.
Oh my gosh, I would love to buy those solar panels. What about you, Hailee?
I would love to buy those too, but there's actually real companies that you can buy solar panels from. Literally, look it up right now. Company to buy a solar panel from.
Yep, I just looked that up.
Oh my
That's
God.
really
It's
interesting.
lot
not
of
that hard.
ads.
Yeah.
There's a lot of feelings.
Oh man, look at that long list.
You can even easily buy hybrid cars that don't run clearly on gasoline, or cars that are electric, although those cost a lot. They're trying to get the patent down. Or you could just easily bike places.
Yep. Anyway, back to what you were saying, Ken.
Here we
about
go.
Small houses.
At Best
or not.
Buy, you can buy a Ring solar panel for $50.
Wow. Is that a Solaris solar panel?
Yeah, the real company that I did not make up.
Oh, here's a Solaris solar panel.
Wait. Wow.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
For $130, you can buy it at webosolar.com.
Oh, that's cool.
At Home Depot, there's solar panels that you can buy. There's solar panels that you can buy anywhere, and some of them, there's even a generator, a solar power generator. I'm looking this up right now. Amazon, I'd recommend you get free shipping. But back to what I was saying. People don't understand that it's not just one day poop's gonna hit the fan. Like,
Oh wow.
I wasn't gonna swear.
You're
Kids are gonna
right.
listen to
She's
this.
totally listening. Like right now.
She probably is.
I'll bet you she just goes 30 seconds, skips to the end, last 30 seconds.
Anyways, people tend to, they just think of the worst outcome and how long it takes to get there. They think, okay, well,
It's
The-
short-sightedness.
Louisiana's gonna be gone. It's gonna be covered with water in, 100 years. Well, I'm gonna be dead in 100 years, so I don't have to worry about that. That's
True.
the next generation problem. But in reality, the sea levels are going to rise higher and higher each year until it gets to that point. So it will affect them in their lifetime. It's just a time as to when. It's just a time as to. It's just like how long they want to wait it out.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, if you go onto my website, actually, there's a photo of what the East Coast is going to look like if sea levels continue to rise.
What does it look like?
Boston, New York, Washington, Charleston, New Orleans, Houston, and Miami are all off the map. They're
Will Seattle
under-
be on the map?
No, Seattle actually won't. We'll be below. We'll be below in the ocean.
Yes.
Good.
But,
Well.
so, what I also talked about is things people can do with their own countries, even if their government isn't doing anything. And like, what I was saying is that it's biking anywhere would help cut down the CO2 emissions, because the CO2, so I talked about what climate change is, and basically climate change, what happens, how it happens is the sun rays, the UV rays or whatever you want to call them, they come down to Earth, and they go through the atmosphere that we have, and they end up getting stuck. They bounce around on the Earth, they heat up the Earth or whatever, which is, and then they leave. But some of it gets stuck, to be kept.
The thermal energy, yeah.
Thermal energy. However, there's moments when there's like layers in the like the CO2 tends to trap the UV rays, and basically it ends up cutting holes in the atmosphere where more sun can get in, but it won't be able to escape, and it's heating up our planet. And it's, with the more CO2 that we have, the harder it is. We're gonna be needing to wear sunscreen even in a cloudy day. Is what's basically gonna happen, because it's not gonna be cloudy. It's gonna be smog. If you've ever gone to LA, you'll see smog everywhere, and that's just because of how crazy it is. Or in China, in places like highly populated, dense areas, it's similar to that.
So if you want to help, just try to use less energy around the house, drive less. Generally, on my
Plant trees.
Yeah, on my website there's a carbon footprint calculator. You can use that and find out what else you can do to combat global warming. Thank you
That's a
for
good idea.
listening.
This is Hailee Desrosier, To Change or Not to Change.
Kent Scollard, Scollard Saves the Oceans.
Kenny Emerson with Desert Global Warming. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.